Hello, everyone. My name is Michelle McCullough, and I am excited to be with you today as part of the Ground Up Summit. And I'm excited to share with you the social media blueprint for business. Now, if you're looking at this picture and you are looking at the promotional pictures that went out from the Ground Up Summit, you'll notice that my hair color is a little bit different. I am the same person, but the headshot that the Ground Up Summit used is from a couple of years ago, and I am actually a natural brunette. So while it's fun being a blonde, this year I am going back to my roots. And so this is a little bit more what I look like if you happen to see me in real life. And I would love to see all of you in real life. Well, let's dive into the content because we don't have a lot of time today, but I really am committed to sharing with you some important things that will help you as you grow your social media. But I want to start with a story. When I was in college, I was a marketing student, and I was a member of the DEX organization, which is a competitive marketing organization in the collegiate circuit. And so we would go to competitions on advertising plans, marketing, sales, etc. And there was this fall conference that we had in beautiful Park City, Utah. And as part of the conference, we had a breakfast buffet on the very last day. So after we had packed up all of our things, we loaded the buses, we still had a day's worth of training, and we went to this breakfast buffet. Now, before we could eat, we had a speaker, and that speaker shared with us different ways to make sure that you are using your manners and appropriate etiquette for business meetings, marketing conversations, etc. So while we are starving college students, we are listening to this speaker, and she's talking about what fork to use and where to put your napkin if you get it from the table, and whether or not you should salt your food before you taste it so that you don't seem like a closed-minded person. And so she talked about all of these things. And then when it was time, we got to get up to this gorgeous buffet. Now, there was tables and tables and tables of food for the hundreds of college students that were there, but there was fruit and vegetables and meat and pastries of every single kind, and eggs and bacon and sausage. And so I was hungry, everyone was hungry, and I am filling up my plate. And breakfast is one of my favorite meals of the day. I love all the different kinds of breakfast foods. Well, as we got to the end of the buffet, there was this juice bar. And my plate was full, and I didn't quite know how I was going to pour myself some juice. And my friends that were around me were realizing that they had the exact same problem. And so we decided that I was going to hold the cup and my friend was going to pour. Well, just as she starts to pour, I realize that this is not going well. And so I go to set my plate down on the table in front of me. And instead of setting it down on the table, I only partially set it on the table. And so it fell on top of me all the way down my shirt, my pants, all the way down to the floor. And yet I'm still standing there holding this cup that my friend is still pouring. And I am smiling and embarrassed and not entirely sure what to do. And everyone around me is laughing. And so we finished with the juice. Obviously, I set the cup down carefully this time. I bend down. I try to pick up as much of the food as possible. And I am trying to clean up the table a little bit around me. I stand up. All of my friends are gone. They have totally left me to deal with this mess and the embarrassment alone. And so I go into the bathroom. I try to clean myself up. My suitcase is already on the bus. I don't have a way to really change my pants. And so I just have to clean up as best as I possibly can to make it through the day. Well, when I talk to clients and when I go and travel and speak about marketing, many people will say to me, but Michelle, I've got so many things on my plate right now. Social media is a giant hassle. It just seems like I'm adding one more thing. And if I take on one more thing, I'm going to drop everything I have. And so this experience that I had that one Saturday morning at this important business event that ended up being incredibly embarrassing is really a great metaphor to the way social media plays within our businesses. And are we going to enlist the help of others? Are we going to do it on our own? How are we going to do it in a way that doesn't feel messy and that doesn't make us drop the rest of the plates of marketing and business that we have on our responsibilities list? So today we're going to dive into what I call the social media blueprint for business, with a foundation of understanding that marketing itself is sharing the right messages to the right masses through the right mediums. And we can't talk about social media unless we understand how marketing fits within that strategy. Now, I believe believe in these 3 M's. I look at it like a trifecta, that you have to have all 3 in order to be able to bring an ROI into your business, which is why I'm not satisfied with just this definition. It has to include so you can make money. That marketing is sharing the right messages to the right masses through the right mediums so you can make money. Now, it's not all about money in the world, but when it comes to your business, the efforts that you put into your marketing, if they're not bringing you a return, then I don't really call that marketing. I call that wasting your time. And unfortunately, many of my friends and fellow business owners and entrepreneurs all across the country, and even the ones I consult around the world, are struggling making marketing fit into this plan where they're trying to bootstrap, they're trying to just invest a bunch of time. And in the end, I believe that your time is money as well. And so if you're not getting a return on your investment, I want you to rethink your social strategy. Now, I know that this is a conversation that makes you want to pull your hair out. And I know that this is a conversation that makes you wonder if you're doing it right, if you are approaching it the right way, and that you are even wondering if you have time to give it the effort that it needs. So I want to tell you about how I got started in social media. Now, back when I went to college, which was not that long ago, I am not that old, I promise. I was a marketing and advertising student. But back when I went to college, social media hadn't been thought of yet. People were just barely talking about websites. And back then you couldn't have really clean URLs. They were like http://427wxy 4.72.html.biz.org. And so it was kind of fun to be at the forefront watching the social media landscape change. And while I had my own business, a promotional products company throughout all of this, that I tested and tried a few different things, when I started and then partnered with Kelly Anderson and Startup Princess back in 2008, social media was really taking off. We had a Twitter account. We were getting started on Facebook. And I started consulting small business owners about all things marketing and business. And as I watched friends and fellow business owners try to make their efforts in social media, it was interesting to me that some people were totally doing it and some people weren't. And some people were having luck, quote unquote, and some people weren't. And I was not satisfied with that. And so I went on a mission to figure out what would help any small business owner in social media. What are the tools that would help them grow, whether they wanted a Facebook strategy or Twitter or whatever else would come? And as you know, now we've got Snapchat and Instagram Live and Pinterest and all the other things that we didn't even start with. And so I went on a study to figure out how to make social media work. I am a systems girl. I love figuring out the systems. Marketing to me is a system of daily, weekly, and monthly activities. And as I commit to those, they work. And so I had to figure out the system for social media. And I'm not going to lie, it took me 2 or 3 years to figure out what really worked. And we tried a lot of things through our social media accounts, through my small businesses, with my clients, until I finally figured out what worked and what didn't. And when I did, our followers took off. We did a variety of different things, and we figured out what actually was the blueprint, what we could tell and duplicate for other clients and other businesses. Our following has grown to over 300,000 followers, and we have done an amazing amount growing our business simply using social media. Now, we have, of course, other advertising outlets that we work with as well, but social media is our primary, with Twitter as our number one use still to this day. Even though some people will tell you Twitter is dead, I feel like it's very much alive. Now, it may not be right for every business, and we might talk about that in a little bit. But we figured it out, and we figured out how not just to build a social media following, but to build a community that really cared about small business and small business conversations. And then that turned into filling live events and getting a lot of media attention on Costco and Forbes and entrepreneur.com and MSNBC. And so we got a lot of accolades as we grew this business, and it has been a lot of fun to watch and use social media almost as the guinea pig for Startup Princess, but then be able to translate that into my other businesses, into my speaking, into selling books. And I ended up turning it into a product called the Social Media Blueprint for Small Business. And it's something that I redo every year with the latest trends in social media. And really, my business took off as soon as we had figured this out. And I have been traveling and speaking on social media for about 4 or 5 years now. And it's been a lot of fun to share these principles and practices and watch how, even though the social media landscape changes over time, there are some key foundational principles that you need to know in your business in order to make social media work for you. Now, at the forefront of this, you need to remember that people come online to social media specifically for two reasons: information and connection. They come to connect with other individuals. They come to get reviews. They come to read about other things that are going on in the world. They use social media as their news source. But if you notice, people aren't coming to social media to be sold. They aren't coming to social media to buy. Now, they might go to Amazon to buy. They might go to another online site. They might go to a forum for reviews, but when they come to social media, they really are coming to be social. And so as businesses, you have to figure out how to fit into that mold of providing information and connection, and realizing that sales is a secondary effort that comes from that. And while you can totally market and you can totally sell, I really see social media as a place that you seed those sales with service, and that you provide information to them that will provide a little bit bigger value. Now, I want to play a little game with you through my Facebook page at facebook.com/speakmichelle. Now, if you're new to me, you might need to like that page in order to play this game. But the second thing that I'd like you to do is to comment on my post. So you'll see my picture with me as a blonde and me as a brunette right next to each other on the Ground Up Summit post. And I want you to share something that you've learned about social media, or something that you like about the presentation. And I'm going to give away a prize to one lucky viewer from the Ground Up Summit to win the Marketing Accelerator program, which is 4 videos that are really specific in helping you accelerate your efforts in marketing and social media. And so I'm going to give one away, and you'll see on that post that I also ask some additional questions. And so I want you to see how these posts play. I want you to take a look at my Facebook page so that you can kind of see what's going on and see how all of the pieces that I'm about to show you fit into my social media strategy. Now, Facebook, like I mentioned, is just one of the places I play, but we'll talk about how to choose that in just a minute. So just like I had talked about how I am a systems junkie, until I could figure out a system for social media, it did not work. And so I've created what I call the 2-2-15-15, which doesn't make any sense to you right now, but I want you to think about it in terms of time. Many people complain about social media, especially when they're trying to build it organically just by investing their time, that it does take a lot of their time, effort in their day, and that they need to spend time having comments or focusing on groups or making sure that they're creating great content. And so one of the things that I also wanted to figure out systematically was, how can you do it without breaking your time bank? That time bank is limited, just like our money and financial bank can be limited to the resources that we have there. We do know that our time is finite. While we can always grow our paychecks and our bank accounts, we have the same 24 hours in a day. And how many can you really afford to spend on social media? So I instituted the 2-2-15-15. And I'm going to walk you through how this works so that you can figure out how to grow your social media following, create the kind of content that you need to, and do it without spending lots of time. So first, the first 2 is for 2 hours a year. And I want you to commit to creating a social media strategy. Now, what you might need is an annual marketing playbook. I have a digital planning tool that I use called the Marketing Playbook that I also give to my clients. But you can use a spreadsheet. You can use a Word doc. You can use a physical paper if you actually want to. You could use a whiteboard on the wall. But what you need is a place to capture your strategy and make sure that all the pieces are interwoven. But this also has to dive into your overall web strategy as well. And so one thing that I encourage you to do annually, and make a time in your schedule in the next 2 weeks to schedule 2 hours to work on your social media strategy. Now, it doesn't have to be that long, and maybe you can't dedicate 2 hours in one sitting. And some people are like, oh, well, that's kind of a lot of time. I don't have a lot of time for that. But my question for you is, would you like to be more strategic online? Would you like your social media strategy to work for you rather than you working for your social media strategy? If so, investing this kind of time, and it's not very much. I didn't ask for 8 hours. I asked for 2 hours. Investing into a 2-hour strategy can really help you take it to the next level. So during that time, I want you to ask yourself these 4 questions. What is your growth goal for your following? If you have 500 followers now, do you want it to be 1,000? Maybe you want to double. If you have 500,000 followers now, maybe you want to increase by 15 to 25%. Whatever that is, make sure that you understand your growth goal and that you're picking one that's right for you and your business. Second, what is the growth goal for your site traffic? Social media is one of its best tools. Its golden nuggets of great information is providing an increase to your site traffic, where your home court advantage is. So what is your growth goal for your site traffic in terms of growing it with social media? And third, what is your growth goal for your email list? I think that one of the other golden nuggets that social media does for you is to grow your email list. And I think that your email list really is the pot of gold at the end of the social media rainbow, because that is where you can continue to nurture leads over time. You can stay top of mind awareness, continue to provide content through nurture campaigns. And so growing your email list should be your top priority as part of growing your social media strategy. And then, of course, what is your growth goal for sales? While I do believe that social media market is for seeding and service, you do have the opportunity to sell as long as you have given them the foundation of information and connection that they need. So these 4 questions are the things that you need to answer. But when you're creating your overall annual strategy, you might also want to define how many blog posts are you going to post a week? Are those posts going to be video, text, graphics? Do you use a variety? How does your audience learn best? What kind of information are you going to be providing that can supplement your social strategy, so that when people do go to your website, that there is information there for them to see, that there's fresh content, and that they can get that sense of information from you that they need. So that's 2 hours. Again, it doesn't take very long. Ask yourself these questions, sit down and create a strategy, decide what your most important message is for the year, and then that foundation will really serve you and make it a lot easier for you as you move forward, that instead of waking up in the morning and going, oh, what do I need to do on social media today? You refer back to your annual strategy and make sure that every post and every effort and every ad spend that you buy on Facebook or another social outlet is really to help you reach your annual goals. So the second 2 in the 2-2-15 is 2 hours monthly. Now the key here is scheduling. So I'm going to encourage you to create a social media monthly planner, and I'm going to show you how this works in just a minute. But I also want you to create your marketing schedule for the month in terms of your social media. So in order to do that, you have to know what you're going to be saying online. So let me introduce you to what I consider to be the 4 types of social media status updates. Now this works whether you are posting a picture on Instagram or text on Twitter or Facebook, or even a graphic on Pinterest or LinkedIn, or your favorite social media channel if you love to use graphics, which is a great part of a strategy. Now, the first type of status update that you cannot live without is service posts. And I say service because I mean there's no sales whatsoever in these kinds of posts. They are tips, they're advice, they're quotes from you, they're information. They can be quotes from other industry leaders. They can also be links to your blog posts on your site. They can be trends in your industry, and they can be features or benefits. But really make sure that when you talk about the features and benefits of your product, that there isn't a sales slant in this type of post. Make sure that you're focusing on the results that people get, and not how to buy the product, where to buy the product, or that the product should be purchased. It's really just about providing information. And as you can see, there's a variety of subjects up here. So before I go on, I want you just to take a little bit of an inventory. What kind of posts have you used so far? Have they worked for you in providing valuable information to give information and that real good type of juicy, a full-scale picture of your business and your products? So take a look at this list and make a little inventory of what have you done, and then take a look and see what kinds of things could you sell, could you use, and service posts that would help you expand your social following. So these are just some ideas, and you might think of others, but remember that service posts really are about providing information and meeting that first need for information in the information connection duo. Now, the second type of post meets that connection need for socialization. So socialize with your following. Socialize with them. Give them an opportunity to build a sense of community. And this is one thing that while other people were posting quotes and tips, advice, and information, they weren't really mastering asking great questions. And this is important for 2 reasons. Number one, because if you want to build a sense of community through your social media following, you really need to make sure that people are interacting with each other and not just you as a brand or a business. That they feel like they're connected to other like-minded individuals. But the second reason why this is important is that because all the social media algorithms now, from Instagram to Facebook to Twitter and everything in between, is based on activity, you need people commenting. You need them commenting on each other's. You need them commenting and sharing information with you. And so if you give them the opportunity to have the microphone, they will really feel like they are connecting with you in a bigger way, but then connecting with everyone else that you bring around. So classic questions include who, what, where, when, why, and how. Ask questions that are open-ended instead of yes or no questions so that people have a way to respond and share thoughts, advice, and information. But I also love the tell me questions. Tell me, what's your favorite this? And tell me what book you're reading, and tell me what is the most exciting thing that's happened to you this week. Now, obviously, you want to tailor it to your specific business. If you're in health and wellness, then you'll want to say, hey, what's your favorite strategy for getting 8 hours of sleep at night? What's your nighttime routine? What do you do if you're tired during the day? And so you're asking questions that are specific to your industry. For me, depending on whether I'm talking about my motivational side of my business or my marketing side of my business, I might be asking questions like, what's the best piece of advice you ever received? Or what's the best personal development book you've ever read? Or who has influenced your life in a really powerful way? Or I might ask the question, if you could meet anyone, who would you meet and why? And so you're asking questions of your audience for them to connect with you, to connect with the brand, and to help your overall site health and algorithm in terms of where your Facebook pages are. Now, the third type of social media status update is what we call sign or sign up. So these are getting people to sign up for your email list. You've probably seen lots of pages like this that have registration forms, and they get a free product or a free service. Here's a sample of one of mine that I did about the 4 biggest marketing mistakes. One of my clients, Connie Sokol, and then of course the great Brendan Burchard, who masters the signups. But if you're using your social media following to help you grow your business, then I hope that you use it to grow your email list by providing them something of value, what we call like a freemium in this business, and collecting their email address in exchange. So as you can see, I used, hey, learn the 4 biggest marketing mistakes. Connie said, here's the 3-step plan for defining what you want. Brendan Burchard is giving away a copy of his book, Get Free Training, and Brendan's new book, The Motivation Manifesto, for free. You only pay shipping and handling, but he's using it for name and email gathering. And so you can use an ebook. It can be an audio. It can be a video series, whatever it is that you want to offer on your homepage, or even have a variety of landing pages to meet different needs and different audiences. But growing your email list through social media should be one of your top priorities. And it also gives you a way to provide additional information to your audience by an ebook or a white paper of some kind, and it also gets them to your website, which is great. But I also use signups, the signup social media updates to cross promote. So if I'm on Twitter, helping people come over to my Facebook page, if I'm on Facebook, helping people to follow me on or circle up on Google+, or if I want people to find more pictures, posting them on Instagram. So again, get them to sign up for your list and nurture your prospects through cross promoting in social media. Now, the last type of post, number 4, is sell. So you can sell online, but you want to make sure that they get all that other information and not just sales posts from you, or they'll stop following you. And your social media pages will just die. But of course, you can talk about promotions. Of course, you can talk about sales and information that you have. Of course, you can do product highlights. But make sure that while you do that, that you are sprinkling them in with the other types of posts that you have. So for just a minute, I want you to take a minute and think, if you could give me a percentage, what percentage of your social media posts for your business right now are sales? Are they over 50%? Are they under 50%? Take a minute just to think about that. Chances are your sales posts for your business are high because you're in business and you want to sell, which is fine. But if you want to make social media really work for you, you're going to want to use a percentage that is more alignment with what you can see here on the screen. That for each of those social media posts, you want to make sure that you are providing them the kind of content and information that will help them grow towards you as a business and will help them feel like they're getting the information that they really, truly need. So what do you do? This is what I recommend. Now, there are some times where I will change this up a little bit, but 50% of your posts need to be service posts, information, tips, advice, quotes, things that don't ask for anything in return, things that help people understand a little bit more about your business and that will help your audience understand who you are as a company, but they'll get the information that they need before they make a purchase. 25% of your posts every month should be socialized posts or questions, ways and opportunities for people to interact with each other. 15% are the sign-up posts or cross-promote posts, and then 10% are your sell posts. Now, if you do a really good job of nurturing your audience, sometimes those sell posts can increase if you are growing a business or a specific book launch, as long as people feel like they aren't just being sold to, that they're getting service as well. So my tip for you is to create a bank of social media status updates. Create some every week, but schedule out all of your status updates every month. As we talked about, the goal for your monthly social media number 2 is 2 hours scheduling and writing. And I've done this so much now that sometimes I can do it even faster because I'm always thinking of ideas. I'm capturing them in my social media monthly planner on my spreadsheet. I'm capturing them in my phone. But I create that bank so that when I sit down to schedule, that I can just schedule all of my posts for the month. Now, if you have an assistant, I encourage that you write and that your assistant schedules for you. So my assistants schedule for Twitter and Instagram and Facebook for me. So I do the writing, but then they actually do the ones implementing. So let's take a look at a case study for a minute. My book, The Make It Happen Blueprint, which is my peak performance and high performance book. This was in response to people who were watching me with Startup Princess and with my speaking business and with my promotional products company. And they were saying, Michelle, I don't know how you run 3 businesses and have 2 kids. How do you do it? So I started to speak also on peak performance and sharing with people the principles that I use to help me get more done in less time and doing all the things that I want and making sure that I'm hitting my goals and dreams without burning out. And so this book is the response to that. It got picked up by Morgan James Publishing and will be available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Target. So the actual launch date is March 17th. So I knew March was going to be big. And so before March and before we got to today, I spent a bunch of time building my social media bank. And I knew that throughout the course of the month of March, I would need 200 posts promoting my business and promoting this book launch. But because I know that, only 10% of those posts can actually be buy my book. So as you go and look at my page and you enter and share some of your favorite things on the ground up post, you'll see a variety of posts that provide different values. And you'll see a variety of posts that are helping me build my brand on my book. But I'm not telling people all the time, go buy my book. But in advance, I created 100 posts, including graphical posts for quotes, tips, book excerpts. We created 50 questions to be used to ask people in different and various outlets. We created 30 sign-up posts, and we created 20 sales posts. So I already went through, and because we have a call series going on in the month of March to get people excited about the book, but just as a way for me to provide some free coaching, I also created a coaching package for people who purchase the product, who will purchase the book during my launch period, my pre-launch period, March 14th to 17th. And so they're getting a free coaching package, but that's growing my email list. So I created all of these in advance, and then I can schedule them out through social media outlets, and I have them all ready to go. 100 posts total will go to Facebook because I'm going to post about 4 times a day on my Facebook page, and then another 100 of those posts are going to other outlets. Now, sometimes I cross promote and I'll use different posts, but I really wanted to have a good variety, especially since I have an influencer team working with me on this launch, and I wanted to make sure that there was a variety of posts for people to use in order to promote the book. So that's just an idea of how you can see it in action, where you take that percentage and you actually make it what it needs to be. Now, you probably only need 100 posts a month, which means 50 of those posts are going to be service posts, 25 of those posts are going to be socialized questions, 15 of those are going to be sign up for your email list, and 10% of those are going to be sales. So just 10 of them. But as you get to the social media bank, you can just go through, crank out, have your team help you find great quotes that support your message for the month. And then if you've got that done, you're not spending hours and hours a day on social media. Instead, you're just spending 15 minutes. Could you spend 15 minutes a day growing your social media following? Could you spend 15 minutes a day interacting with your audience? Because if you can spend that 2 hours a month and you can spend that 2 hours a year, daily you should only be spending 15 minutes a day on your social media. Now, there are some examples here on the screen of different ways to work in different outlets, but Daily, it's really the organic things. It's responding to replies and thanking people for retweets and shares. It's going into the questions of the day and responding to your audience and making sure that they are interacting with each other and interacting with them and saying, oh, that's a great idea. If you felt like you learned something from one of your audience members, but then I also go in and I strategically follow new people. I am working on looking at different people and different members of my following, both on Twitter, on Facebook, on Pinterest, about how to do that. I might be working on figuring out some great copy for ads and things. And we're not even talking about ads on this call, but just really the organic things that you do that help you grow your following. So if you do that, then the last 15 is weekly. And this is just statistics tracking, asking yourself what worked this week, what didn't work this week, what needs to change next week. How many retweets or shares or repins did you get? How many likes, comments, engagement? Keeping track of that on your social media monthly planner will make it easier so that when you go next month to write your posts, you'll realize what type of questions work really well. And you'll realize what kinds of quotes and graphics your audience are responding to. And it makes it a lot easier to generate your next set of information. Now, for those of you who are getting started on this and you're trying to figure out how can you help do this in a way that makes it a little bit more automated, there are some great services available like Hootsuite and Buffer and Latergram that you can use to schedule your posts. Make sure, of course, that if you're using Facebook, that you don't use a third-party scheduler. Facebook does not play well in the sandbox, and your posts will not do as well in the algorithm as they will if you schedule them directly within Facebook. So use Facebook's scheduling feature on your business pages. You can't do them on your personal pages, but on your business pages, when you go to type a post, there's a little white arrow in a blue box. And if you click that, it gives you an option to schedule it even days, weeks, and months into the future. Now, because our time is short and because I got so excited talking to you about all different pieces of marketing and social media strategy, we didn't have a lot of time to talk about specific outlets and where you should play. But if you're interested in getting this infographic about the top 6 outlets, I'd be happy to send that to you. So just email me at michelle@speakmichelle.com, put Ground Up Summit and social media infographic in the subject, and then it'll be easier for me and my team to send this your way. Or you can also pause it and look at this video over and over again and just kind of read the information that's here so that you can make sure that you're choosing the right outlets for your business and right outlets for your industry. But the one thing that I do want to talk to you about is if you're trying to decide where to play, if you're a small business, my advice for you is to go deep. I love the quote by Tiffany Peterson that says, I would rather have one 100-foot deep wells than 100 1-foot deep wells, that you really do want the depth. And one of the reasons why we were able to grow so strategically with Startup Princess and now have 300,000 followers was that Twitter was our main focus for 2 years. We added Facebook over time, we've added Pinterest over time, but we focused in one area so that we could really build a community. So ask yourself, where is your target market and where will I work best? And choose 1 or 2 outlets. Now, I recommend that you create a profile in most of the social media outlets, especially in the top 6, so that if somebody in your following really does work there, that they can see that you are still in business and that it's working. But just check and make sure that you're not spreading yourself so thin that you're not building the sense of community. But on those pages that you don't have, direct them to where you are. If LinkedIn isn't part of your strategy, but you're in small business, create a profile there and then say, hey, we play regularly over on Facebook. Come and play with us. So let them know where you are building that sense of community as best as possible. So as we wrap up, you need to create your marketing playbook. You need to create a time map for yourself so that you are spending 2 hours a year, 2 hours a month, 15 minutes a week, and 15 minutes a day. And you're going to use those automation schedulers. But the last tip that I want to give you, which I feel like is really the most important, is that remember that social media is just one piece of an overall marketing strategy. We can watch people have crazy success on social media, but we forget that our most important marketing job is really to create a home court advantage. That your home court is your website. It's your retail location. Your home court advantage is where the money is. That's where people, there are your raving fans. They care about you, and everything that you do should funnel to your home court. That you should use all the social media outlets to get people to your website to see your information, where there isn't confusion, there isn't a competition for brain share and brain knowledge, but they really are getting you in your home court. So make sure that your social strategy is driving people back to your home court advantage. Well, that's all the time we have for today. And I hope that at the end, you're not feeling like we've overwhelmed you and added even more things to your plate at the risk of dropping it all over yourself. But I hope that you figured out a system and a schedule that will help you be more strategic in your social media strategy. And that as you implement some of these things, and I'd love, again, for you to go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/speakmichelle and share with me the thing that you like the most. Share with me the thing that you're going to implement, or the one aha or idea that you had. And then again, we'll be giving away one of those marketing accelerator programs absolutely free. But as always, know that I'm here cheering you on, and that as we all play together in social media and help each other grow, that we can really make our businesses stronger. One of the reasons why I feel like Startup Princess was so successful is our willingness to work with others and to learn from other people and to grow in our businesses in a way that really mattered. And so as you think about your small business, and as you make it a big business or grow it to be the thing that you absolutely want it to be, I hope that you'll remember to use social media also as your network and a way for you to build your powerful influencer team that will help you grow in life and business. And until you and I meet again, I wish you all the best in your social media strategy, and know that with these tips, you can make it happen.